This week on Machinery Pete TV, the last of our Larry Leck Band series. This one-of-a-kind creation in Larry's collection has quite a story. Pete looks at what's behind the recent hot prices for drills. And an ageless picker still gets the job done out in the field.
Your machinery is a serious investment and at the heart of every farming operation. Some call it a passion. We're Machinery Pete TV, and today we'll cover everything from auction roundups to the classics to the latest trends and technology. Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com.
Hey folks, welcome to Machinery Pete TV. Kind of a unique show this week. It's an online auction, but we're in Northeast Iowa, and we're going to show you a sweet 1940 Farmall A with an amazing story to it. But before we watch it sell, we're going to throw it back to the studio for the latest in farm machinery news.
All right, thanks, Pete. I'm Clinton Griffiths. A new Purdue University CME Group Ag Economy Barometer shows farmer sentiment weakened following the elections last month. The barometer falling 16 points from October to a reading of 167, although this month's index was nearly equal to the pre-pandemic high set back in February. It is 9 points lower than the sentiment reading taken just 2 weeks before the election. Now, the decline in the barometer was the result of weakened expectations for the future on the part of ag producers.
And overwhelmingly, the farmers in our survey told us that following the November election, they expected to see a more restrictive environmental regulations facing agriculture. They expected to see higher estate taxes, higher income taxes, a weaker farm income safety net, and reduced support for the U.S. ethanol industry.
Surveyors say farmers' attitudes regarding the trade dispute with China have changed over the course of the year. At the beginning of the year, 80% of farmers said they expected to see the trade dispute with China be resolved in a way that benefits U.S. agriculture. This month, the percentage of farmers expecting a favorable outcome for U.S. ag trade with China was 50%. Take a look at this graphic from John Newton, the chief economist at American Farm Bureau Federation. He reports China bought a record $4.8 billion in American ag goods in October. He says that's the largest since November of 2013, and it brings the year-to-date total to $17.5 billion. But you can also see that sales to the country are still below the pace needed to hit obligations under the Phase 1 trade deal. A company has come up with something new when it comes to robotic vertical farming. Check out this Utah operation. Automated towers grow fresh animal feed using high-efficiency LED lights and minimal water. The seed-to-harvest process takes only 6 days and produces 6,000 pounds of feed per cycle.
It gives you a predictable, optimized crop every time.
The vision that I would think, that I see is there's probably one of these in the back of every supermarket growing fresh food right in the store.
The company that makes the technology says it plans to roll it out worldwide once they reach agreements with other farms. Now let's check on some recent auction prices from around the country. That's it for news. We'll send it back to Machinery Pete.
Hey folks, no, you're not seeing double. And trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned. An amazing story on these twin sisters.
Every good season starts with one great deal. Get yours today with Farm Hard Rewards, going on now at your local certified Firestone Ag tire dealer.
Our focus this week, folks, is on BigIron.com's weekly auction. And we're going to visit with Mark Stock, co-owner and co-founder of BigIron.com. And we'll also visit with Larry Leck Band of Ocheyedan, Iowa, who's selling his equipment on today's sale.
All right, folks, time for one of the coolest items on the sale today. Larry, tell us about your 59 Minneapolis-Moline. It's an L power unit with a 2-row Husker?
Yes, that's right. This particular machine is probably 59, not sure. But in 57, my dad and I, we bought one and used it until 1964. It was quite a machine. Any corn picking contest after they came out for about 3 or 4 years, they won everything. It's pretty versatile. Put a lot of hours on the machine we had. Found this one was in pretty good shape and ran, and bought the thing, and I don't remember what I paid for it, but anyway, bought it and played with it, took it to a few shows.
Now your daughters, Larry, sent me some amazing video of you picking just a few days ago.
Yeah, and when we get done here and you leave, or you can hang around, I'm going to finish filling that wagon just for the sake of having a full wagon of corn.
And the corn is really good here. You were saying it's probably the first time this thing's ever had 200 bushel corn?
I'm sure it is. The elevator was, I know I had to use it's got a variable speed drive, and I had to go slower than I used to.
Okay, Mark, now a totally unique item here. Larry's 1959 Minneapolis-Moline, the unit tractor with the Model L power unit, 2-row picker. Again, you just don't see these things every day, do you?
No, you don't. And when we first met Larry, he said, I'm going to go behind the shed. And he come driving this machine from behind the building, and he drove right into his cornfield with a wagon behind it. He started picking corn. Larry, once again, was like a kid in a candy store when he was showing off his collection. And this is a machine he was really, really proud of.
I see the Minneapolis-Moline 1959 just wound up selling for $3,200.
Yes, it did. And my screen is telling me here that our winning bidder was from Kansas, and the second last bidder here was from Idaho. So that thing's going to get put on a truck. The third last bidder was from Nebraska. So we had some bidders from different areas buying a unique item here, selling on Larry Leckband's sale.
All right, folks, something totally unique and way cool here. Larry, you have to tell us about your creation. And first of all, what do you call this amazing machine?
Well, I call it the Twins, and other people have other names, but to me it's a pair of twins. The people ask sometimes whether it was factory made or something, but I actually put it together. There's been questions of what it was for, and some of the guys said the guy ordered it for a tractor for his Siamese twins.
How did you get the idea to do this?
Well, I knew it could be done, and mechanical ability, I guess. The A's and B's are all similar. The bolt pattern on the rear ends, everything is symmetrical, so you can bolt one axle to a transmission, or you can bolt the drop gearbox to both sides of the transmission. There's all kinds of options you could do it. You could actually, probably if you wanted to, just get enough A's and B's, you could just keep going for 100 feet.
Why stop, huh?
The only issue I had it all together about 10:30 one evening, and I put a 5-gallon bucket on the seat, and I got things started and was going to try and see what happened. Unbeknownst to me, I had no idea what might happen, and I thought a little bit about sitting on that 5-gallon bucket, and I said, if this thing takes off, I'm going to be on the floor. So the next morning I put the seat on it, and then went through the same ritual and got them running and let the clutch out. Nothing happened. They just sat in one spot, and both engines, the differentials were turning inside. I had to weld one differential together to make it work. It'll run either, both of them, right or left, either way. You can run them 3 different ways. The starter on the left one, generators on the right one, and in order to start the right one, doesn't have a starter, you have to put the left one in gear, and both of them in gear, and release the clutch on the right one, and engage the clutch, and it's just like pull starting.
So you were intrigued, you knew it could be done, and you did it.
I did it.
One of the hottest segments of the used equipment market right now, drills. Stay tuned, we'll discuss.
Machinery Pete TV is brought to you by Bear Plus Rewards, helping make every part of your season more rewarding. Visit mybearplus.com to learn more. Machinery Pete TV, brought to you by the Cenex Total Protection Plan, the best warranty in the agriculture industry that keeps you in the field and provides you peace of mind. Visit Cenex.com.
Well, folks, used farm equipment values are definitely up here late in 2020. I'm kind of seeing this across the board, all types of equipment. But one of the categories where it's most pronounced is with drills, as folks begin to look ahead to 2021, what they need for equipment. Now, a week ago Saturday, on November 14th farm auction right here in southeast Minnesota, this very nice John Deere 450 12-foot drill sold for $20,000. That's the highest auction price on a 450 drill in 5.5 years. And on that same day, November 14th, down in northwest Iowa, this very nice Case IH 5400 20-foot drill sold for $13,500. Again, very strong price. Now that's actually the third highest auction price this year on a 5400, but interestingly, also the third highest auction price in 7.5 years. Now the highest auction price this year on a 5400 drill was this one. This was back on August 18th. Farm auction in west central Minnesota. This Case IH 5400 20-foot went for $15,500. Now back on November 7th, again in northwest Iowa, this very sharp 1999 John Deere 1560 15-foot no-till drill sold for $28,750. That's the highest auction price so far this year on a 1560. And if we look at 1560s, so far this year, the average auction price, which is $19,522, that's up 18.2% versus last year. And just in the last month, folks, I've seen 4 1560s sold at auction from $20,750 up to $28,750.
I've been farming for 40 plus years. Back in the 70s and 80s, things were so much different. I mean, everything now is high tech. Repairs are so much more expensive now than they were back 20, 30 years ago. So this protection plan that Cenex got it's great. It's a wonderful program because we've had an engine blow up in our combine and they covered it. We were combining, we were about half done with the harvest, and I just got an unloading into the grain cart, and all at once a bunch of codes come up on my monitor, and I told my son something's wrong, and he says, well, shut it down, shut it off right away. So I lifted the head up and shut the engine off, and it was really bad. Blew a hole about the size of a soccer ball inside of the engine. We're lucky to be close to that Cenex station that we do all our business with. One thing nice about Keith and the Cenex store, what they say is gospel. So then we called Keith and he says, well, make sure you send all the soil samples in? And I said, yes. He says, well, you should be covered then. And when Keith told me that they were gonna cover that, it was just a big weight come off my shoulders. Well, it would have been devastating because when that engine blew up, it was over $80,000 to fix the engine. And most operations, I mean, it just don't work to have a big bill like that with all the other bills that you got. If somebody would ask me if they would think about joining this total protection plan, I would say 100%. It's a total peace of mind. They've never let us down before, and they never will. So, I mean, that's just how they are. That's how they operate. Everybody that works there is just top shelf. I recommend that Cenex Total Protection Plan to anybody. I wouldn't ever buy a piece of equipment without going on it. Guarantee it. Used or new. It's the only way to go.
Got equipment to sell privately but tired of scams and hassles? Visit MachineryPete.com and click Sell Mine. MachineryPete.com, the simple and secure way to buy and sell equipment online.
All right, folks, time for our feature item. And I tell you what, this 1940 Farmall A, beautiful, but an amazing story behind it, Larry. Tell us how you came upon it.
It was an interesting day. I was going to Minneapolis, Highway 60, and there was a lot of construction. It was in 2001, and every 10 miles I'd have to do a detour. So I ended up taking a road north towards Sleepy Eye, and the intent of cutting across to get off the highway. And I came upon about 5 miles south of Sleepy Eye, I came upon a consignment sale going on in a lot that had a trucker's lot or something, a lot of stuff. So I decided to stop. It was just typical. And I walked around and I stumbled onto this tractor. It had a good 1/4 inch thick layer of caked dust all over the whole thing. You couldn't see any paint on the top sides. The lights were all covered. Everything was generator. Everything was covered. You couldn't tell what it was actually, except it was an A Farmall. The rear tires were vintage of the 40s, early 40s. The muffler was gone. I think somebody helped themselves do it for spare parts at one time. And I bid on it. There was 2 ring auction that day. And I got the bid and he said sold, and a middle-aged man ran up there and really adamant he wanted to buy the tractor from me. And first I told him no, and then I got inquisitive and I asked him why he was so adamant about buying it. And he told me the story that a young man in the early 40s, maybe 40, 41, whatever, had bought the tractor and was going to, I don't know, he's going to start farming or something, don't know, didn't ask that. But anyway, this young man was about the same age as this man's dad. And he got drafted into service in World War II, became a casualty, and never came home. The tractor was in a building, the neighboring farm of theirs, and in storage for over 60 years.
Wow.
Never moved. The front tires were cracked up bad, they were flat.
But when you got it home to the farm and kind of cleaned it up, I mean, this is not restored right here.
Oh, it's original.
It's original.
It's all original.
So Mark, we gotta talk about this 1940 Farmall A with a plow. Amazing story behind it that Larry shared with its unique history. The original owner went off to World War II. Larry found it, got it. This thing looked like new.
It was like new. It had original paint. It had the original wiring harnesses. The only thing Larry replaced on it were the front tires and the muffler. But everything else on this tractor was as original as you're ever going to find it. And a lot of phone calls, a lot of people looking, a lot of people coming out just taking pictures of this very unique, hard to find original tractor selling for Larry today. There's so many unique things about Larry's collection, and this is just one of those super sentimental things to Larry because of the story behind it. And that's one thing we like about the way Larry has handled his sale and the way he tells the story not only of this piece, but on every piece that he has collected and restored.
Right. Well, that all those folks watching, I think some of them hopped in and were bidding here, Mark, because just closed $3,605 was the final sale price.
Yes, and it was. And congratulations to the winning bidder from Iowa, outbidding Nebraska bidder, and they battled here for the last couple clicks on the screen. So they got themselves a good piece of history, a great conversation piece from Larry Leckband.
Well, folks, the longer I've been at this gig, the more I've come to understand it's not just about the sale prices. It's about the people, the machines, and the stories. So much fun on the show today to hear Larry Leckband tell us about his 1940 Farmall A and that super cool 1959 Minneapolis-Moline 2-row picker rig. And fun to watch him sell. So join us here next week again, folks. We'll have some more fun machinery stories to share with you. Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com.
Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.